Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I made a list of the best crime games to play in 2023. Tell me your opinion about these games, and if you think some games are missing, let me know in comments. You can find more detail about the games in description. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. The obvious appeal of a Peaky Blinders game is that it takes place in the world and with the characters from the popular gangster show. For fans of the series, it's a treat to play as the awesome characters and navigate the criminal streets of England after World War I. The game itself takes a little getting used to. It operates as a unique puzzler that causes players to operate on a timeline while manipulating several characters at once. It's tricky, but it also can be fun once the player gets the hang of it. When gamers think of games involving criminals, mobsters and hitmen obviously come to mind. But being a criminal can take many different forms. In terms of watchdogs, this means becoming a hacktivist that commits crimes for what they believe is the greater good. The fact that the player can literally just walk down the street and hack money out of people's bank accounts is pretty scary. But it's undoubtedly a crime, which is pretty ironic considering that these criminals consider themselves heroes.
Okay.
Crime is such a serious business that it's particularly hard to have fun with it. But gamers know that Cops and Robbers is a fun childhood game that shouldn't be taken too seriously. LEGO knows this too, and that's why LEGO City Undercover is so much fun and one of the best LEGO games. It takes the criminal experience and turns it on its head with typical LEGO zaniness. But that doesn't mean it's any less of a crime game. The player takes the role of a cop that has to go undercover to catch a criminal that escaped from prison, which is absolutely a crime story.
The gun's up on the roof, right? So we need to find a way up.
Noire is interesting for a multitude of reasons. First off, it takes place in the classic hard-boiled detective era of stories. But besides an awesome setting, it truly tries to solidify a crime game to solely the detective experience. It does this by really breaking down what it means to solve a crime. The player has to look for clues, interrogate suspects, and even chase them down when necessary. The crazy thing is, real cops really do make mistakes. And it is certainly possible to make mistakes in this game too.
And instead of dropping it down a drain, our shooter hoists it up here. Interesting guy.
When it comes to stories, setting is extremely important. This goes doubly true for crime stories in games. An organized crime story that takes place in New York City is obviously going to be a completely different experience than a crime story that takes place in Hong Kong. That's what makes Sleeping Dogs so exceptional. But besides having a new and different setting, this game really takes its combat mechanics to another level. The game world has such an immersive setting that allows it to become a part of the action. Within the fields of crime stories, there are particular niches, the most well-known of which are heists. Plenty of games utilize heists as a plot device, but none of them highlight the gameplay function of a heist as well as Payday. The game is built all around performing and executing a heist to perfection, something that any fan of the genre knows rarely goes according to plan. And that's the great thing about Payday. Players can undertake the same heist multiple times and still have different experiences.
You got something to say, or do you want to live? Down. And stay quiet.
Looks like we're about to get busy.
I see one of us. Drop your gun. Drop it. Kneel down.
The world of the 1920s and the 1930s is an excellent setting for crime stories. The Roaring Twenties was a cultural high point that provided a great opportunity for criminals to make a living. Likewise, the 30s had Prohibition, which also provided fertile ground for criminal enterprises. The Mafia series firmly sets itself in this era while also taking a very fictional approach to its setting. It's essentially the Grand Theft Auto of this time period. It may seem derivative, but the game is very well made.
Sammy, not so gentle. Got another man. He's fucking dropping us. Grab some cover.
Well, I'm on to you, buddy.
We got a score to settle now.
The Yakuza is a legendary organized crime family in the world of fiction. Unlike crime families in America who have a long and documented history thanks to stories like The Godfather and The Sopranos, the Yakuza are a bit of a mystery without a fleshed-out history in the world of fiction. This game series sought to change that by featuring many different Yakuza stories across its many different installments in different parts of Japan. It's a fun game that might be considered a Grand Theft Auto clone, but it's definitely a new experience. By the end of the series, Saints Row had become completely ridiculous, involving hell, aliens, and a Matrix-like computer program. But it's important to remember where this series started. In the beginning, with the first two games specifically, crime and gang warfare remained at the forefront of Saints Row gameplay. The player was hyper-focused on building up their gang and competing for turf against other gangs. Down and dirty crime rather than over-the-top hilarity was the backbone of the series. This shifted over time, but those origins should be respected.
Thought I shut that thing down!
Troy can't bail you out of this one!
You moron still learn nothing.
It's hard to think of any one series of games that encapsulates the crime experience more than Grand Theft Auto. From the very beginning, Grand Theft Auto was all about being a criminal immersed in the underworld of drugs and driving nice vehicles. In fact, it was this very experience that drew so much controversy its way. However, Grand Theft Auto never slowed down. It continues to pump out more games and content that feature criminals doing what they do best while evading the law.